I'm a trans teacher, and yes, I am teaching your kids pronouns in school.
Energy.
I'm not asking!
Brown joy is resistance. It wasn't always like this.
You're the reason I am struggling so much. Y'all make life so much harder for genderqueer and disabled and mixed people.
For years, straight women, lesbians, and progressive queer activists, whatever you want to call them, maybe they didn't get along, but at least the girls weren't fighting. Everyone just sort of knew their place. Lesbians would, stay in the 2 bars in their town that were left. We even created our own dating apps. And progressive woke activists stuck to Reddit and Tumblr. Now, these activists are at every city council meeting imaginable, on every dating app calling people transphobic, racist bigots if they don't want to have sex with them. And we are sitting here like idiots wondering just how this all happened so fast. When we were, for the most part, very understanding and libertarian about it all. Do you? Just don't do me. Don't ask to do me. How in the hell did we go from, listen, we just have a medical condition that's called gender dysphoria. We just want to transition and live our life in peace. We just want to get married. We just want to integrate into society like everybody else. To trans women are women, bake the cake bigot. To trans women are females.
Trans women are women. They are female.
To, no, there's no distinction between trans and cis women. They are all women. Sex is a spectrum which innately erases homosexuality. How the hell did we get here, and what is the psychology behind it all? We're gonna get into that. Welcome to another psychological deep dive. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. I am one of the only lesbians on the internet that calls out the queer bullshit, that speaks truth, and one of those truths are, this can all be explained in 3 simple steps. Shifting, shaming, and blaming. Shifting goalposts. The majority of us all started out being super empathetic, right? We were just coming off of the It Gets Better campaign, the Trevor Project, which was the anti-bullying campaign for LGBT youth, suicidal youth. These people are going through something serious, right? They need the time and space to heal and grow. There is no reason to not be nice to them. For the most part, everyone was on board with LGBT people should not be bullied and deserve respect. We were super accommodating, right? And kept saying over and over how much we respect these people's journeys and understood their need to live their lives who they were, like gays and lesbians, bisexual people, and the need to transition if they were adults.
We are trans women. We went from point A to point B.
But little by little, the goalposts started shifting. We just want to live our lives in peace soon became trans women are women and deserve to be in women's spaces, prisons, bathrooms, sports leagues.
Hey, sweet pea, so I thought I'd explain something. When I say I'm a woman, I'm not asking if you'll pretend I fit your definitions of a woman. I'm saying I'm a woman. You should add that to your definitions of womanhood now.
And again, I think some people were on board with this, at least like I was, for a little bit of time for a few of these instances. If someone was legitimately transgender and had gender dysphoria and had some kind of transition done and lived their life as the sex they said they felt they were, it kind of made sense to me in some cases. Not necessarily this person, but you know what I mean. Until like this started happening.
Well, first of all, do you like eating box? Can you see yourself in the near future eating box?
On the gay end, we went from, we just want to get married and integrate into society like everyone else, to bake the cake bigot. And it happened kind of quickly, if I'm not gonna lie. Calling out my own people here, y'all full of bullshit. The goalpost had shifted and gay and trans people were no longer being treated as equals, but is special. Remember this story I made a few years ago? Where publicly funded tax dollars went directly to affordable housing only available to LGBT people.
A plan to build Maine's first affordable LGBTQ plus housing development is kicking into high gear.
The complex is set to break ground in the matter of months next to the Equality Community Center in downtown Portland.
How kids weren't allowed at strip clubs, but danced on stage at drag shows while adult men tossed dollars on them. That capitalism is evil, unless it's corporate sponsoring for like millions of dollars worth of corporate sponsoring for pride events. That there are thousands of genders, but they can't seem to name more than 3.
How many genders are there?
I have no idea.
A lot, I don't know.
It's a good question. I mean, it's a spectrum.
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Unlimited.
As many as you want.
Can you name 5? Name 5.
I wouldn't have like a name for any of them, but I just think like none of it really matters.
There's she, her.
That's pronouns.
Pronouns. Oh, genders. Can you?
Yeah. I was just curious. A lot of people advocate for these things and they can't even name them, you know what I mean? So I want to know if they could actually...
No, I get it, but I'm kind of not comfortable with this anymore. Thank you.
That sex isn't real and women's spaces are transphobic.
Hot take. I want a safe space from cis women.
How about that?
That freedom of expression is necessary when it comes to identity.
Pronouns are they, them, or at least that's what I share with people most often, but for this particular meeting, I will come out fully as saying that my pronouns are she, they, him.
Necessary when it comes to presentation.
In the shower, on a walk, till an hour.
But not when it comes to our speech. Misgendering, microaggressions, having an opinion that isn't okay with the cult. You'll be attacked, you'll be canceled, you'll be fired, in some cases you'll be fined. Soon, gays and trans people could do no wrong.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
After all, they were considered low on the social hierarchy standard scale, but super high on the oppression one. That was like rebuilt by these woke activists. But because these people were still being viewed as oppressed, the goalposts once again shifted. Do you remember these horror stories? A transgender P has been spared prison after being found with 10,000 child abuse videos. The man who also planned to grape the children was sentenced to community service after the court sympathized with his personal difficulties. The fact that James Charles is still attending award shows after allegedly, I think it was proven, grooming underage boys. A transgender male who is the subject of multiple complaints after reportedly exposing himself in the women's locker room of an Ohio YMCA has been cleared of charges of public indecency, largely due to his weight. Too fat to flash, too trans to jail, apparently. Remember when all the P's started transing to hide their abusive past? How in the hell were they able to get away with this? Number 2, shaming. You bigot! There needs to be sexually explicit books about gay culture and gay sex and gay shit. In elementary schools, kids know who they are, and they are at risk. Do you not support kids' gender-affirming care? Do you want a dead daughter or a happy son?
I was sitting in my pediatrician's office explaining to him that I was transgender, and that my father wasn't affirming my new identity. So naturally, my pediatrician asked my father, would you like a dead son or a living daughter?
Do you think being gay is a choice? Gay rights are human rights. Not everyone can afford to transition, but they are still trans and still should be treated as the gender they feel they are. Do you not support trans people? Gay people are oppressed. Are you siding with the oppressors? Why do you hate trans people? Why do you want trans people to be unalive? Sooner than later, corporations even started rallying around these concepts. Disney introducing non-binary characters. And finally, when you decided to stand your ground and say something like, you know what, I'm okay with gay people and trans people living their lives, but males don't belong in women's prisons and sports, and kids definitely shouldn't be shown graphic images of sexual conduct in elementary schools, you would get something like this. More shame. How dare you weaponize these people's trauma? Are you saying that women are weaker than men? That's sexist. Males and females are equal. You're not a true feminist if you think men and women are different. And then for a while, educational facilities and even the Olympics stood by this rhetoric. The idea that not everyone can afford to transition, but they are still trans and should be treated as such, allowed in women's spaces, whatever. People are the gender that they say they are, regardless if they have transitioned or have gender dysphoria or not. Hence the Tickle versus Giggle case. Do you guys remember this? For those who don't remember, Giggle was a women's-based dating app that only allowed women on there. The app was then sued by a trans woman for them not allowing this person, this said trans woman, on the app. And the trans woman won. All because the Aussie judge said that sex is mutable. The general public was growing tired of all this bullshit. They started to be less and less on board with this as time went on. And if it did indeed get to that point, the activists resorted to number 3, blaming.
We see a large percentage of depression and suicidality in youth already, largely due to societal transphobia. And taking away care will result in premature, preventable deaths of kids. LGBT suicide hotlines see uptick in calls following historic Trump victory. My friend Chloe Cole, who is an outspoken detransitioner, said this: I hear emotional blackmail at these hearings constantly. Their blood will be on your hands. And a lot of very weak-minded or just fearful people will fall into this trap. The goalposts, once again, had been shifted because why the hell not? Of course they're gonna do it if they have control over you and they're manipulating you and gaslighting you, and then it starts all over again. But the majority of society is and has been over this bullshit, like I said. Listen to these ex-posts that my friend Brianna Wu, who is a trans woman, a sane one mind you,
had to say. R.I.P. progressivism in 2015 to 2024. Yeah, I guess 2015 could have been there, right when gay marriage was legalized. We were a quirky but well-meaning political movement that started as a push for universal healthcare and better treatment for minorities. The problem was that we never came up with any mechanism to regulate our worst ideas. Ain't that the truth? Abolish the police is a great example. Or when corrupt Black Lives Matter leaders were stealing $30 million using the name of George Floyd, we didn't want to hear anything about it. Otherwise, we were accused of being racist. Remember, you were also being accused of racist if you didn't post a black square to your Instagram page? That was ridiculous. If declaring your gender with no medical transition and walking into a woman's locker room seemed absurd, it would avoid a lot of headaches to just be silent about it. Credible progressive leaders like myself, and myself, of course, were socialized into staying silent, and like a dementia patient, the movement became more and more untethered from reality. We became such easy, stupid marks, not just unwilling to fact check anything, but certain we didn't have to even debate our ideas with the public. Now, companies, of course, are following the money, they're following suit, and I think the main reason that this took so long to happen is because once progressivism has you under control using the tactics that I just covered, it is really, really, really difficult to get out of that. Listen to this TikTok that I found that explains it completely.
Why is it so hard to change someone's mind? Let's talk about it. If you're new to my channel, I'm of course Rachel, the neuroscientist. The brain really doesn't like changing its mind, and that gives rise to things like the confirmation bias, anchoring bias. Confirmation bias means that we'll actually selectively filter out information that is incongruent with our existing beliefs. Anchoring bias is where we hold on to the very first thing that we learn about something, and it's hard for us to let go of that, even when we're presented with evidence that suggests that it's not accurate. Neuroscientifically speaking, once you learn something, your brain has to restructure and rewire itself. We also instinctively perceive change, uncertainty, unpredictability as inherently dangerous.
Brilliant. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you think that this indeed is the end of the era of progressivism and the reign of sanity and common sense? Like, what do you think? Where are we at? I know there's always going to be a small minority of people that are always, quote, on the far left. What do you think the world is in general? Let me know in the comments below. And again, make sure you're subscribed to me if you're not already. And also follow me on TikTok, because I post a ton of content there that I never post here. Other than that, I will see you guys back here next Sunday with a brand new video. Until then, I love you. Love yourselves. Keep calling out the bullshit. All right. Bye.